You know, our citations are so reliable, you may fly an entire career without experiencing a true emergency. But what about that dark IMC night when something really challenging happens? Will you be ready? Let's look at some situations that have happened to citation pilots that's been compiled by our Safety Foundation.
Citation 525 Mike Romeo, clear for takeoff, runway 24 right, climb maintain 2000, right turn 350.
525 Mike Romeo, cleared for takeoff 24 right up to 2000, right turn 250. All right, here we go. Takeoff power set. 2 good engines. Airspeed's coming alive. Airspeed's alive now. 70 knots. V1, rotate. And a positive right. Flaps coming up. And we're going to start the turn.
Altitude.
1 to go. Something's not right. Dizzy. Okay. Feels like I'm stalling the airplane. Dang.
Sink rate.
Something's not,
Pull up.
Something's not right.
Pull up.
Something's not right.
Pull up.
It's not.
Pull up.
But we're gonna
pull up.
Altitude.
Pull up.
Minimums.
Pull up.
Mike Romeo.
Pull up.
It may seem improbable that David would put the airplane into such a steep descent, but unfortunately it happens all the time. In one recent accident, a professional pilot put a transport category jet into a 49-degree nose-down pitch attitude when he erroneously sensed that the airplane was pitching up and stalling because of acceleration. The somatographic illusion is when our inner ear is sending the pilot faulty information. It's perceiving a rapid acceleration as a pitch up. The pitch attitude, in fact, might be fine, but the pilot misinterprets what their inner ear is telling them and pitches the airplane down, sometimes excessively so. This scenario actually represents a pilot's statistically greatest chance of encountering spatial disorientation. Over half of all spatial disorientation accidents and 3/4 of the fatalities that result from spatial disorientation accidents occur during night IMC conditions, which, if you think about it, represents a pretty small amount of the time we actually spend flying, so disproportionately it's a very high risk. Aircraft such as the CJ3 that we're flying here at FlightSafety that have a high thrust-weight ratio have been shown to be particularly likely to induce the somatographic illusion in pilots, because they accelerate so rapidly that the pilot senses the attitude is more nose high than it actually is. This is a particularly important combination for the pilot to brief during their takeoff briefing. If they know they're going to be departing in night IMC in an aircraft with high thrust weight, particularly in a light loading or a cold temperature condition where they can expect rapid acceleration, they want to really be thinking ahead of time that this illusion might be something they encounter. Let's look at some ways this scenario could have been avoided starting before the takeoff even commences. And as the last part of my before takeoff briefing, I'm just going to remember that I'm going to be hitting the clouds at around 600-700 feet in a tight turn. I've got a low altitude level off. I'm pretty light today and the temperature's cold, which means I can expect rapid acceleration. This is a setup for spatial disorientation, so I'm really going to focus on trusting my instruments and using the autopilot to help me out. We've been cleared for takeoff, so here we go. Got 2 engines spooling up. Takeoff thrust is made. Airspeed's alive. 70 knots cross check. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. I'm gonna wait to about 400 or 500 feet. Hit the heading button. Right there.
Altitude.
And I'm just going to leave the airplane in takeoff pitch mode, clean my flaps up, and use my thrust to maintain reasonable acceleration and reasonable rate of climb. There's absolutely no reason I have to be staying in takeoff thrust when I'm leveling off 1,500 feet above the airport and it's 0 Celsius out with a light fuel load. Just holding a comfortable speed of 180. I'm focused on the instruments, ensuring that my autopilot modes reflect what I expect to see, and really just staying focused on the instrument, ignoring my inner ear.
Citation 525 Mike Romeo, clear direct Heiner.
Direct Heiner, 525 Mike Romeo. Alright, takeoff checklist, landing gears up, flaps, throttles are set, engine sync is good, yaw damper, anti-ice, passenger advisory, it's going to keep that on, landing lights, pressurization, altimeters are set. Okay, we've got a roll indication. Now alright, the autopilot's off. Let's hold on here. Let's get the airplane back to wings level. Okay, we're going to 10,000. Alright. What's going on here? Let's get speeds increasing. Hold on. 525 Mike Romeo, departure. We've got a flight control issue or a navigation issue, or we may need a short vector here.
Citation 525 Mike Romeo. Report if you need assistance.
Mike Romeo, stand by. Gosh, darn it. Stand by.
Over the last 40 years, over 3,000 lives have been lost in spatial disorientation accidents just in transport and commuter category aircraft. Most frighteningly, these accidents are increasing year over year, while other accidents have been decreasing in number. This particular example that David just experienced represents about 1/3 of spatial disorientation accidents, when there's a loss of primary flight display instrumentation or a conflict in the pedostatic information presented to the pilot, resulting in confusion and ultimately spatial disorientation. So this is an important accident type to be mindful of and be thinking about in the cockpit. Let's look at some things that might have made for an easier recovery. We're about to resume flight here, climbing through about 6,000 feet. And, below 10,000 feet, real important, try to maintain a sterile cockpit. I'm not talking to passengers. I'm not concerning myself with anything other than really flying the airplane at this point.
Citation 525 Mike Romeo, clear direct cabs.
Direct cabs, 525 Mike Romeo. That says direct cabs.
Autopilot.
Now, I'm attuned because I'm not distracted in the sterile cockpit environment, and I've heard that the autopilot's clicked off. My first instinct is to look at my PFD and see that I've started a slow turn. Now, as I roll my wings level, I see my HSI is still showing a turn. Immediately, I'm thinking something's not right here. Anytime you have a discrepancy in your instruments, you have to establish a good attitude first of all. So the first thing I'm going to do is check my other instruments. I see 2 out of my 3 instruments agree, 1 disagrees. I'm ignoring the one that is not showing me the same as the other 2. My first priority, again, is a good attitude. If I've got 10 degrees pitch up and wings level in continuous thrust and I'm cleared to keep climbing, that's a good attitude. I've got time now to sort out the problem, okay? Center, citation 525 Mike Romeo is declaring emergency with the instrument failure. I'm going to need to maintain present heading and keep climbing for a little bit. I'll let you know when I can level off.
Citation 525 Mike Romeo, that's approved. Run present heading 15,000.
And 525 Mike Romeo, present heading, and all right, now at this point I feel comfortable that I can level off at 15,000 feet. I know my flight director is probably giving me poor information, so I'm just going to disregard it. If I can even turn it off, so much the better. I again see that these
Altitude.
2 instruments are giving me good information, and before I'm worrying about getting my proper AHRS indication back on the PFD, switching my autopilot to the good side, aviate first and foremost. Establish a good attitude, fly a good attitude, keep the plane in a safe energy state. Then I can start troubleshooting the problem, doing AHRS reversion, switching autopilot. Practicing these scenarios is a great reason to train more than just the minimum requirement. Ask your instructor next time you're in the simulator if the model you're flying, they can recreate an AHRS slow roll. Have them introduce it at a random time without warning you ahead of time. Likewise, practice a low altitude level off with the plane lightly loaded, tight turn, cold temperatures. The simulator unfortunately may not create a spatial disorientation the way the airplane would, but by instilling good discipline, you'll be inoculating yourself against that event should it ever happen to you in the airplane.
There is so much more safety information available free on our website. Just click on the Safety tab at citationjetpilots.com. Fly safe, and we'll see you next time.